Oh, good morning. Good morning. I think we're finally having some spring weather coming up. Yay. So excited. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, because of the storms. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I started last week on the four agreements. And so I thought I'd touch on agreement number 2. And if you've never read this or never heard about it, the agreements are things that you adopt as you accept. So they can be good or they can be bad. But this author, Don Miguel Ruiz, says, really, you only need these 4 agreements. And if you do that, then your life will be good. But so the first point we talked about last week is be impeccable with your word. And the one I wanted to touch on today is don't take anything personally. So whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. Easier said than done, right? Using an earlier example, if I see you on the street and I say, hey, you are so stupid, without knowing you, it's not about you, it's about me. If you take it personally, then perhaps you believe you're stupid. Maybe you think to yourself, how does he know? Is he clairvoyant? Can everybody see how stupid I am? I mean, you can see how ridiculous it is. You take it personally because you agree with what is said. As soon as you agree, the agreement, the poison goes through you and you're trapped in the dream of hell. What causes you to be trapped is what we call personal importance. So personal importance, or taking things personally, is the maximum expression of selfishness because we make the assumption that everything is about me. During the period of our education, or our domestication, as he calls it in the book, we learn to take everything personally. We think we are responsible for everything. Me, always me. Nothing other people do is because of you. It is because of themselves. All people live in their own dream, in their own minds. They are in a completely different world from the one we live in. When we take something personally, we make the assumption that they know what is in our world, and we try to impose our world on their world. Sorry, I forgot to turn this to airplane mode. There we go. Sorry. So you can see how, I mean, when you think about it like that, that taking things personally doesn't really make any sense at all. So you just let it slide on off you. So think about that. Sit up tall. And take a couple of long, deep breaths. You can even open your mouth to let it out if you want to. And then settle in to see how it feels to be in your skin today. And please bring hands to heart center. Bowing to yourself, to your inner world. May we all remember to not take anything personally. we're much better able to notice the grace and the beauty if we don't take things personally. Please lower your hands, open your eyes. And we're going to start in all fours and just kind of some movement. You can do cat-cow movements, or you can do circle movements or figure eights, just whatever will get you kind of loosened up a little bit. Loosening your shoulders, your hips, your back. Just kind of work through all four corners. Even close your eyes and just feel it with your eyes closed. Sometimes you can notice a little more what's feeling tight, where you need to work. And then go ahead and sit back to a child's pose, but keep your arms lengthened out long. You can even walk the fingertips forward a little more. Your shoulder blades, wrists, elbows. Breathe deep down into your belly. Good, and then come on up, plant your hands and come forward onto your belly. And try and adjust your hands so they're under your elbows. Forehead down, feet down, and then just think long side body, lift the shoulder blades onto the back and broaden the clavicles and engage your rib cage. And then lift your head and shoulders a little bit, not a lot, and your feet, your legs long, and then maybe hover your hands there for a moment. Locust pose, Shavasana. Kind of strengthening all those muscles, shoulder muscles, back muscles, good, and then relax down. And pause for a moment, because we're going to do it again. Again, shoulder blades back, broaden the clavicles, lift, lengthen through the top of your head, lift your feet, lengthen through the toes, cover the hands, and this time, see if you can slowly bring them forward, your arms by your ears. A lot more intense. You might have to lower down a little bit. And then bring the hands back, hover them under the elbows, and lower down. And then one more variation. So set up the same way. Shoulder blades back, lift the head, lift the shoulders, rib cages back, lift the feet, cover the hands, and then stretch the hands back by your hips. And if you want, you can even bring the palms towards each other or even interlace. Just keep active. Good, release, cover the hands, and lower down. And push back, child's pose. This time just bring the wrists under your forehead. And then making your way back to all fours. Just do some more of those wild movement cat-cows, but this time you can play with turning the fingers out or even towards you. And just kind of loosen up the wrist a little bit. Be mindful. Do what feels like a good stretch, not too much. Good. And then turning the hands back forward, bringing them forward of your shoulders a little bit. Come on down to the mat again. We have one more variation I want to do. So setting up for Shavasana, locust pose. Rib cage back, shoulders back, long spine, lift head, lift feet, hover hands. Stay for a breath. And then slide the arms forward just like you did before. Stay for a breath. Slide the hands back, hover them. Good. Now stretch them by your hips or interlace for a breath. Hover them. Good. Plant the hands, plant the feet, and lift up to cobra. Stay for a breath. Nice, huh? And lower back down. Curl the toes. Push all the way back to downward facing dog. Just get a little relief. Feel the stretch over your bum, the back of your legs. Back. You still want to keep your shoulders really strong and engaged. And just walk your dog out. And then one hand width at a time, walk your hands back to your feet and come to a forward fold. Keep all parts of your feet grounded and just notice you can sway forward and back. You're getting kisses, Tina. And then bend your knees, bring your hands on your knees, bring your torso upright, press into your feet, and come on up to standing. So you're at the back of your mat. I wanted to just get you warm a little more. So we're going to do breath of fire. So you remember the stand with your feet hip distance. So you just take little sips in. So the first sip, you just bring your arms forward. Next sip, out to the side. And next sip, stretch up. And then open mouth. Okay, let's do it together. Inhale. Three more. You can go faster if you want. Right, and then just stay there. Sorry. I don't know if that was three or not. I think it was. Good job. And then walk your hands back out to a downward facing dog. That gets you warm, gets things pumping a little bit. And then come forward to plank. And you guessed it, lower down to the mat again. Hands under elbows, forehead down, think, set the core, lift feet, lift hands. One more round of this. Stretch the arms forward. Take a breath, lengthen. Hover the hands. Stretch the arms back. Broaden your clavicles. Hover the hands. Lower the hands, lower the feet, and lengthen forward into cobra. And lower back down. Back to all fours. Grab your blocks. If you're using blocks, I'm using blocks. And bring your hands on the blocks and just slightly in front of your shoulders. Good. And then extend your right leg. Bend the knee. Lift it out to the side like you're peeing on a fire hydrant. There we go. Extend the leg and bring the foot down. Okay, on your hip. Yeah. So, and then just move forward and back a few times. You can, sit all the way back if you want. Just opening it up. Keep your left hip engaged. You feel all the fibers and the muscles and that inner thigh working. Crack, crack. Good. And then when you're forward again, step the foot to the outside of your right block. And just kind of square everything up. And then lift the back knee. Feel that nice stretch. You can lift the heel high and lower it a few times. Good. And then lower the knee again, the back knee, and then straighten and bend your right leg. Try and keep the hips square to the front, the shoulders square. So you're just kind of working that particular right hamstrings and hip. Your left leg is just kind of assisting you. So the hips just move forward and back. Good. And then when you're forward, switch. So that knee comes back. You get set so you feel strong. Extend the left leg. Not going to be very high. Bend the knee. Keep the hips square as you stick that knee to the left side and bring the foot down. And then just see what works for you. Try to ground the foot down. It feels better as you move forward and back a few times. If there's a particular spot that feels really good, like a good stretch, you can linger there. Up to you. Good. And then when you're forward, step it to the outside. Your toes might turn out slightly. Keep everything square. Lift the back knee. And then lift and lower the heel a few times. Lengthen through the top of the head. Well, that feels good. Good. And then lower the back knee and straighten and bend. Keeping the right hip just moving forward and back. The left hip as well. But it's at a little bit different angle than what we usually do in this position. So just notice Good, and then pause when you get forward. Lift the back knee and step back to a down dog on those blocks. And just for fun, I'm going to have you extend the right leg, keep the left knee bent slightly. Bend the knee so you're hugging it in, you're working your hamstring. And then come forward to plank, and as you do, bring the right knee towards the right elbow. Good, and then extend it back, and then step it through. Deep lunge. Good, lower the back knee. Bring the hands on the front knee, hug heel to knee, knee to heel. Stretch out your hip flexor. You can stretch your arms if you're feeling stable on Jane Asana. Good, touch down. Now lift the back knee, but I'm going to encourage you to keep it bent a little bit. Bring your hands on your front knee again so you can come upright. Keeping the back knee bent, the front knee bent. Notice how your hips stay square. And then very carefully, almost lower the left knee to the floor and lift back up to that bent position. And just do that 2 more times. Not that easy. Give yourself a break if you're feeling a little shaky. Good. And then pause there, touch the blocks, and you can keep that back knee bent, but lift the hips up and back to straighten the right leg. Remember, your blocks can shift to the higher height if you need them. So it's like a bent back knee bent pyramid pose, and it kind of really reminds you to keep that right hip moving back. And then you can fold if you want to. Bend back into the front knee. And step back, downward facing dog. And then lower your knees, set the blocks off to the side. And you can either just come to the mat from there, or you can come to down dog, plank into the mat. And then you guessed it, Shalabhasana. Really engage everything just the same so you feel really connected and long. Lift the feet, hover the hands. Stretch the arms by the ears. Stay for a breath. Bring them back, hover the hands. Stretch them long by your hips or interlace. Bring them back, hover them. Bring them down, press the feet down, cobra. And then push back all fours. You can get your blocks handy and we'll come up to downward facing dog and do the other side. Take a moment and down dog. Like I said, you don't have to use blocks if you don't want to. It just kind of feels nice to have a little height there. So extending the left leg, keeping a little baby bend in the right knee, bend the left knee. Good, come forward to plank, bring knee to elbow. Stretch it back, and then step it through. Deep lunge. Lower the back knee. Make your way up. Anjane Asana, just kind of checking everything, feeling stable. Stretching out that hip flexor. If you hug your knee forward, it'll feel better. Good, and then touch down. Lift the back knee. And we'll set up for that weird crescent warrior. So the back knee stays bent, hands to the front knee. So you can come upright and then almost lower. Just think of your hips as a unit and lift 2 more times. Almost touch down and lift. Don't straighten the leg. Almost touch down and lift to that weird crescent warrior position. Touch the blocks. Straighten the left leg. Or pyramid pose with a bent back knee. And fold. Couple breaths. And then bend back into the front knee and step back to downward facing dog. And take just a little break here. So lower your knees. Set your blocks off to the side. I'm going to have you come to your elbows here. Interlace your hands. Press forearms, wrists, and hands down. So, and just think of your shoulders, just how you've been supporting them. So the shoulder blades are kind of moving back, but you're broadening your clavicles so you feel really supported both sides. And then lift up to dolphin pose. So keep pressing your forearms, your hands down. Yeah. And then if you want to, you can walk closer. Just keep the connection. Maybe extend one leg. And then the other. You get to decide, keeping the hips closer to above the shoulders if you want. And release, walk your hands back down. Come to an elbow plank. So feel the shoulders right over the elbows. Lengthen up through the top of the head. Feel that same connection through the shoulders. Hold it for a couple more breaths. And then lower your knees and lower all the way down. Feel your heartbeat in this position. And then pushing up to all fours, find your blocks again, if you want. Your choice. And come to downward facing dog. That was your reprieve from doing Salabhasana. So you guys can thank me later. Bend both knees a little bit. Extend the right leg. Bend the knee. Bring knee towards right elbow or forearm, upper arm. And then step it through, deep lunge. Ground the back foot down. Keep the right hand on the block, or you can bring elbow to knee, left hand to the hip. And just make sure your arm and your knee kind of feel like a unit. Feel the back foot grounded, and then turn open for Parsva Konasana. You can extend your arm and stretch it by the ear if that feels good. And now we're going to do reverse triangle. So extend the left arm straight up, lift up, straighten the front leg, and then reverse it. So left hand's down, right arm over, and then come back to Parsva Konasana. Like a swinging your arm side to side. Inhale, back up, reverse triangle. Go slow. You can really feel. One more time, Parsva Konasana. and reverse triangle. Don't forget to straighten the front leg, I always do. And then come back, Parsvakonasana. Look at the blocks, touch the left block, turn the left heel up, and step back, downward facing dog. Do that on the other side, extend the left leg, come forward, elbow to knee, and step it through. See, that's why the blocks are handy, right? Ground the back foot down. Right hand to the hip. Support, arm and leg together. Back foot really grounded. Open up. Parsvakonasana. Just take a moment to really imprint that feeling of left hip crease back, really strong right leg. Good. And then lift, straighten the front leg, reverse triangle. And bend back in, Parsvakonasana. Two more times. Inhale, lift, reverse. And Parsvakonasana. Kind of feels like breath of fire, right? One more time. And Parsvakonasana. Pause for a moment. Right hand down, turn the right heel up, step back, downward facing dog. Lower your knees so you can move the blocks out of the way. Come back up, down dog. Vinyasa with all of our fun Shalabhasana variations. So plank, lower to the mat. Set up. Remember your core and how you support your shoulders as you come up. Lift the legs, hover the hands. Stay for a breath. It's getting easier, right? Those muscles get stronger. And remember, stretch the arms by the ears. Bring them back, hover them. Right under the elbows. Back by your hips. Hover them. Lower the hands, lower the feet, and lengthen up to cobra. And lower down. Push all the way back to child's pose. Just bring your hands under your forehead for a moment. Or whatever feels good. Breathe deep into your low belly. And then making your way up to all fours with the block and coming to downward facing dog. Let's start with the left leg. So little baby bend in both knees, extend the left leg. Keep your shoulders the same, bend the knee. So your shoulders are gonna stay super supported. You're just gonna lift your left hip to stack it on top of the right for wild dog. Don't let your right shoulder get sloppy. You'll feel the twist. Good, square up the hips. Bring knee to elbow or upper arm. And step it through. Ground your back foot down. Walk your hands, you can use your blocks too, to the right and straighten your left foot out. So you're in the middle. You're in Prasarita. Just take a breath there. Just sway from the ball of your foot to your heel and see what you notice, like in your hips and in your You don't have to lift anything, just kind of move the weight around and then pause when you feel like you're right in the middle. Good. And then slowly you can make your way up to standing, that wide position. Good. Now just turn your left foot forward, bend into your left knee, or warrior two, add the arms. You can find some comfort there by using your breath. You feel really strong, connected. You just notice how the pose evolves as you breathe. And straighten that front leg and move to a regular triangle pose. So your block's there if you want it, or you can come higher or lower, you decide. So weird sound. Okay, pretend like I'm pulling on your right wrist, come back up, release your arms for a moment. And if you're using a block for triangle, you can move the block over to your right foot and turn it out. Bend into the front knee. Keep the left hip crease back a little bit, nice. Just notice, add the arms. Track your knee straight, just check it. Feel weight in the ball of the foot, both feet, little toe side, inner heel, outer heel, both feet. The arch feels nice and lifted. Good, straighten the front leg, triangle pose. Hugging the feet towards each other really feels nice and connected. You've already been working your shoulders, so see if you can feel that connection on the back and front of the shoulders. One more breath. And like I'm pulling on your wrist, come back up. Lower your arms, straighten the right foot out. And then slowly fold forward again to a wide-legged forward fold. This time I'm grabbing my ankles and pulling in a little bit. It just kind of feels nice. If you want to do that, you can. And then coming up like a pranam, walk your hands back towards the front. Turn the back heel up. And step back, downward facing dog. And then please step to the middle of your mat and come on up to standing. I did that because I don't want your blocks to be in the way. We're going to do a little balancing now. I almost forgot. So standing on your right foot, you should feel really grounded now. Just lift your left knee and see if you can hold it with both hands and just find a little balance here. And release and shift to the other side. I always have to tell my opposite hip to keep hugging in as I lift. Use your core. Keep everything lengthening. And release. Good. Let's go back to the first time. And this time, after I'm just gonna have you bring your right hand out to the side to kind of counterbalance. And then you're gonna lift the left knee and grab it with just the left hand and then slowly open it up to the side. And slowly bring it back to center and release. Getting easier, right? Okay. Other side. Left hand kind of come out to the side to help you. Lift the right knee. Take a hold. Don't move until you've found really strong balance. And then slowly move it out. If you try to move too quickly, sometimes you lose the balance. Bring it back in and release. Okay, now you're all primed. If you want to try the full pose of Utthita Padangusthasana, and what you're going to do is you're going to stand on the left foot, bring the right knee up, bring your arm on the inside and see if you can find the little toe side, and then you find balance again, and then maybe extend. I like to think of my foot and my leg as a fire hose. So you have to keep drawing in, but pushing out too. You know, if you're holding something wild, you gotta really keep it there. Okay, so go ahead and stand on the right foot. And you can still do the just opening the knee thing too. So lift, you can grab ankle, little toe side, and then just go for it. You don't have to straighten the leg all the way. See where it takes you. And released. Yay, good job. One side always feels better than the other side too, especially if you have something going on in your hip. So go for the other side. Just realize nobody's watching you because they're so focused on themselves. And release. Ooh, good job, everybody. Come forward. Find your blocks on the outside of your feet. We're just going to do a little one flow, and then we'll do something else, okay? So inhale, stretch your arms up. Feel that length and strength. Fold forward. Pranam. And fold. Step your feet back to downward facing dog. Lower your knees. Make your way to the mat. I promise this is the last Shavasana. So set up your shoulders. Lengthen the back of your neck as you lift. Lift the feet, hover the hands. Stretch the arms by the ears. Hover the hands. Stretch the arms by the hips. Hover the hands. Press the hands down, lower the feet, lift to cobra. And then push up to all fours. And just do some wild cat-cows. Loosen everything up again. And then grab your blocks, swing your feet to one side and sit on your back side. And bring the blocks by your hips. And then shift your weight to one side, pull the leg into the socket. Shift the weight to the other side, pull the leg into the socket. Since you're not on a blanket, bring your hands behind you and just think, oh, low belly's drawing up, feet pressing down, nice long spine. This is a pose called Dandasana. I want you to feel even the shoulders connected. And then maybe you can walk the hands forward and do a little Paschimottanasana. If it's feeling good, just go where it feels like a nice stretch for you. Lengthening the spine the whole time. Stretching out all those back muscles we worked on a lot. Good, and then come on back up. Now, we're gonna stay in Dandasana, but watch me. I'm gonna bring my hands on the blocks, and I want my wrists approximately under my shoulders. Since you did so well with the hand balance, I'm gonna try another one. So you're gonna press down and lift your bum up, and then slide your butt back as far as you can get it, and then using the core muscles, lift your feet. Oh. And that's going, yes. So go ahead and try it. So press down, lift your bum, and then draw the heels back, and then use your core strength to lift. You did it for a second. Woohoo! I know your quads grab a little bit. Yeah. Let's try it one more time. It takes a lot of core strength, but just the action of trying to get there, it works it, okay? So try it one more time, press down, pull back. Oh. And release. Good. Good, just because our quads are tight. Come forward, stretch your feet long, and just sit back on your heels. Oh yeah, that feels nice, right? You can even lean back a little bit. Stretch them out. And then come forward. Wanted to do, let's see, running out of time, but we might have time. This time I'm going to have you sit on your blanket. And stretch your legs out long. I just think it should feel kind of nice after that. And then just bend your right knee. And keeping your knee hinged, pick up the foot and hold the knee and bring the ankle across the thigh. And then just kind of feel like, oh, my ball and socket right here in my hip. I'm going to just work it a little by lifting that up and kind of moving it around. You can kind of imagine it moving in that ball and socket or the hip. And then bring the foot across and stack that knee on top of your other knee and hug your heel in. Yeah. And then just kind of notice, draw your low belly up. I always have to remind myself to do that. And if you want more stretch, sometimes this is a lot of stretch. If you want more stretch, you can fold forward. And just go where it feels like it's therapeutic, not painful, okay? That's always what we're looking for. Feeling better in the joints, not you're helping me out, Artie. One more breath. And then come on up and just bring that foot upright and interlace in front of the shin and pull up and back so you feel really tall. And then move into the twist to your right. So right hand behind you, hug the knee with your left elbow if you want, or even bring it to the outside. Just remember, you're not trying to crank yourself. You're just lengthening and then noticing how much movement you can get with your core muscles. Stay for a breath or two. And unwind. Stretch that leg out. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So bending the left knee, hinging it, thinking that's how I want to keep it. I just want to work the hip and bringing it across. And then you can pick it up and move it just to notice if you want. And then bring it across, set it down, and fold if that feels good. Press the left heel down. Sometimes the hamstrings are what kind of is the limiting factor, and sometimes it's the hip, yeah. So just kind of notice and be really engaged and attuned to both. And then coming on up, bring the foot and the knee upright. Now, if this doesn't work, your foot can't get grounded, you can bring it right in front again. Interlace your hands, lengthen up, and then move into the twist. I'm glad I turned the heat off in here last night. Sweat. And please unwind. I'm going to have you move off your blanket and come to your back. Go. And just keep your feet under your knees. I think I'm just going to turn those off. Hopefully they can still see me at home. I think they can. Okay, and then hands by your hips. Now remember how you felt setting up for Shalabhasana or locust pose. So do that again so you feel really connected through both sides of your shoulders and a long spine. Feel that? Just bones grounded. And then use all four corners of both feet to lift your hips. Setu Bandha. And even hug your heels towards you. Lift your heart a little bit. You can wiggle around and get the shoulders underneath you more if you want to. But keep that connection with your core. Your rib cage is drawing back. So then it allows your heart to lift. One more breath. And lower down. And now hug the knees into your chest. And kind of roll side to side. Just you'll feel your low back touching. Just kind of massage it. Oh, that feels good. Roll up into a little ball. That nice long spine. Even try to lift your tail a little bit. Good. And then come on back down. Grab just the tops of your kneecaps. And press the knees away from you till your feet just dangle there. You'll feel the curve in your low back. And then when you roll side to side, you can massage the glutes. And then bringing the knees a little wider, release the knees and set your feet down in that wide stance. Bring your arms to cactus. So we're going to do windshield wipers, but just one knee at a time. So the right knee stays up, the left knee lowers towards the right ankle. And then switch. And switch again. Last time, right to left ankle. And then bringing both knees up, bring the knees up and the feet up. So you feel like you're right in the middle for your core. So, you're not pressing the low back down, but you still have a tiny curve. Hug the knees and the feet together and slowly roll to your right hip, but don't come all the way down. Just come to a place where it feels like I can still control this. Hover there for a moment. Come back to center and go to the left side where you can still control it. Knees and ankles hugging together. Your right shoulder still attempts to stay down and come back to center. Now roll back to the right side, and this time see if you can allow the knees to come all the way down. Your left shoulder attempts to stay down, but it might come up. Excuse me. And you can even turn your gaze to the left. And then hugging knees and feet together, come back to middle and roll to the left. Right gaze. Lying down twist. And then coming back to middle, hugging everything together. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Knees to nose if you want. And then lay back down. Bring the feet flat right there and then open the knees. Your feet come together for butterfly pose. I like to bring my hands on my inner thighs, but you decide what feels good for you. I don't know what we got going on in the garage, but sorry, guys. And then closing the knees. Stretch the legs long. I think we got my little buddy here. And turn the palms up, Shavasana. And just search out any muscle energy you can let go of that's not serving you in this relaxation pose. Or maybe even any thoughts that aren't serving you right now. Let them go to your exhalation. And give that nice warm earth as a soft mattress that can hold you, support you completely. So you can just let go. All those muscles and ligaments that you worked around your hips, let those go, lengthen. And especially your back, just kind of go up and down the spine as you them so hard and allow them to just relax and let go. You can feel them softening up with each exhalation. As you continue to just relax, I'd like to share some thoughts from Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. And he wrote a book that's kind of patterned after the Four Agreements, and he's the son of the author of the Four Agreements. You cannot expect that people will see you the way you really are because they can't. They can only see you the way they are. This is why it is pointless to feel victimized or to cry and suffer when someone says they don't like you. Their image of you is about them and has nothing to do with you. You can, however, change the way you react so you don't feel victimized. You can change the habit you have to react a certain way. In other words, vow to not take things personally. Begin to notice just your skin. Just feel it. Feel the coolness of the air on it. It contains and holds your body. And start to move small ways. And when you feel ready, you can move a little more. Maybe draw your knees in. Go side to side. When you're ready, push on up to seated. Simply bring hands to heart center. And you can take this personally or not, but I think you're all wonderful. And I appreciate you being here and online and in person. And I bow to each of you. Namaste. Have a fabulous weekend. I can't. Happy Easter. Yep. I got a lot of preparations to do. I was just thinking today, man, I've done nothing. Same.